What's going on, everyone? So the Los Angeles Lakers were 6-0 prior to the Phoenix Suns loss with the starting five: D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reaves, Rui Hachimura, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. And I made a video earlier today diving into the very possibility and potential likelihood of the Lakers losing to Phoenix, that I have concerns about this starting five's defensive presence, right? Offensively, the starting five has been fantastic, right? The offensive rating for these five thus far in the 7 games now with the Phoenix Suns is 120 offensive rating. They have a 114 defensive rating, though. You might be thinking, hey, that's a 6-point difference. That is great. But it's not when you really boil it down, because this unit requires that the Lakers offensively be great every single game and every single night. And we saw the game against the Phoenix Suns where Anthony Davis and Austin Reaves were not great on the offensive side early on, and it led to Phoenix blowing out and getting a 20-point lead. Then the rest of the game, the Lakers were playing catch-up. Here's the problem. I just don't buy into this starting five as being the long-term solution. I've talked about this heavily. I know people love to say, oh, we were 6-0 and all that stuff. And I know some people are going to listen to this and go, oh, it's an overreaction. You're overreacting to one game. Let me show you why this isn't an overreaction. Okay, so again, Lakers took their first loss to the Phoenix Suns, 123-113. Let me tell you the 6 teams that the Lakers beat with this starting five. The first game was against the Portland Trailblazers, 134-110. Second game was against the New York Knicks, who were missing like half of their roster. And they didn't have OG. They didn't have Julius Randle, two very impactful, very important guys for the Knicks. And the Lakers beat them 113-105. Okay. Then they played the Charlotte Hornets and beat them 124-118. Then it was the New Orleans Pelicans, 139-122. The Detroit Pistons, 125-111. The San Antonio Spurs, 123-118. The only team that the Lakers played that wasn't terrible was the New Orleans Pelicans. It's the only loss that is notable, and they gave up 122 points in that game. Scored 140. Now, I get it. The Knicks, they're not terrible. They're really good. But they haven't been lately with all of their injuries, which all of their injuries began right when they played the Lakers. So you're talking about the 6-game sample size. We have ran through bad teams that we would have ran through probably regardless of who our starting five was. I don't believe that that is a formula for success. I don't think you can look at that 7-game sample size and go, okay, the first team that we ran into that had real offensive weapons, we lost. Literally, the first team we ran into that had true offensive weapons, we lose. And they didn't even have a good game. I mean, playmaking-wise, they were fantastic. But outside of that, they both shot poorly this game. It was everybody else, but it all stemmed through these two guys in Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant had 22 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, 7 of 20 from the field, 2 of 8 from 3. Not a great game by Kevin Durant standards at all. Devin Booker, 21 points, 3 rebounds, 9 assists, 8 of 18, 1 of 4 from 3. Again, not a great type of game for Devin Booker compared to what they are usually producing and the efficiency in which that they perform. But Kevin Durant had 7 assists. Devin Booker had 9. They ran everything through those two and Nurkic. And it dominated. And they beat us. Because defensively, we don't have guys to match up. And look, I understand right now, it's like, what is a better solution? Which right now, I understand that. I'm not saying we have to change the starting five today. But as we start getting guys back, like Cam Reddish, hopefully Gabe Vincent in March, I think we need to start changing things up. I really do. Because I just don't believe in the defense of this team. Talked about this heavily leading into these last few games against the Spurs and the Suns, right? One of the big things that I talked about was my concern with Austin Reaves and Rui Hachimura specifically. Again, Rui Hachimura, Austin Reaves, Both have had stretches where they've been brilliant, and Rui shooting like 40% from three this year, Reaves 36%. Reaves has been better as of late, but he kind of done that all season where he has like, a handful of games where he's really good and then a couple games where he's bad and then a couple games where he's good, a couple games where he's bad. But it's not even about that to me. It's not even so much about their inconsistencies at times and the level of performance. It's about the overall starting five unit and how the redundancies are there. Austin Reaves and D'Angelo Russell, in many ways, are a redundancy. You have no real defense in that backcourt. Both guys are very similar in play style. Both guys aren't the quickest, aren't the most athletic. Both guys can, make the occasional play. I don't really buy Reaves as a playmaker. I think he's a guy that can make plays. He wants the ball in his hands. He needs the ball in his hands, right? His best games are when he's free and gets to play. Look at the Boston game. He took 18 shot attempts and just led us to a victory over Boston. Why? Because he gets to play the role in which he is best at, which is the scoring guard. All right? But as soon as you have him starting to have to run offenses and make plays and all that stuff, which drives me crazy since you have Spencer Dinwiddie, but we'll talk about that in another video. My concern is, and this is something that I've been hitting on, is Austin Reaves is the target for teams on the defensive side of the ball. Teams are going at Austin Reaves. All of the actions are to get Austin Reaves on their best player. The other target is Rui Hachimura because he's not fast. He's not quick. He's very flat-footed. He's not great laterally. And so when he goes up against these quicker, twitchier wings, I don't know if he's going to be able to hold his own. And now you have two very big, blatant holes in the starting unit on the defensive side. And D'Angelo Russell has been serviceable. He's not great, but he hasn't been like bad defensively, but he's not the answer. And then LeBron James, we all know how that's been going this year. Although when he is locked in engaged, it's different. And then Anthony Davis is Anthony Davis. Problem is when you get to the postseason, teams are going to target and put Rui and Austin Reaves in every type of action possible. Also, you can get away with Rui against the Portland Trailblazers. You can get away with Rui at the three against the San Antonio Spurs. You can get away with Rui at the three against these various teams that are just, they don't really have that true perimeter guy that's going to cause mayhem. But my concern is once you get into the postseason and now you're going up against the Phoenix Suns with Kevin Durant, or you're going up against the Denver Nuggets with Michael Porter Jr., or you're going up against the Clippers with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. I think Rui could get away. I think you get away with Rui against the Thunder. I think you get away with Rui against the Timberwolves. Problem is, Rui is a 4. He's not a 3. He is best suited at the 4 spot, and that's where his mismatches lie. When he starts to have to play the 3, all of the holes and all of the issues and concerns become very apparent because he can't defend the quicker perimeter guys. That's a real problem. And to me, you just have too many redundancies in the starting unit. So what is the answer? Again, I'm not saying that you have to change this immediately because we don't have very many answers, right? We don't have a ton of solutions at the moment. But I think as soon as Cam Reddish comes back, I think you move Cam Reddish back into the starting unit over one of Austin Reaves and Rui Hachimura. If you want to go big, keep Rui at the 3 because now you have Cam Reddish. Another big thing that you saw in the Suns game was our lack of speed, right? We're very slow. So you look at the Suns dominated the offensive boards. They had 14 offensive rebounds to our 3. They out-rebounded us 51-34. Again, if you actually watch the game, a lot of those rebounds were us just not being quick enough to track down the ball. And Phoenix was. So there were literal times where there was D'Lo, Reaves, and Rui right next to the basketball, and the Suns were the team that chased it down and came away with it. Why? Because they were just quicker than us. We're too slow. You add a guy like a Cam Reddish, and again, I would prefer a Jared Vanderbilt, something like that. Our best starting unit this season, it's still Granted, we haven't played them as much. Our best 5-man unit is the 5-man unit that led us to the Western Conference last year, which was D'Lo, Reaves, Vanderbilt, LeBron, and AD. But many of our other better units are with like D'Lo, Reddish, Vando, LeBron, and then actually a lot of them are with Torrey and Prince. But I think a lot of that is just Darvin Ham has played Torrey and Prince with like every other player imaginable on this roster. So, of course, there's going to be a couple good ones there. But I just think, let's say you move Reaves out of the starting unit and you insert Cam Reddish. Now you got size. Your smallest guy is D'Lo, who's 6'3", 6'4". Everyone else is 6'8" and above. You add some athleticism out on the perimeter. You add a point of attack defensive guy. He's a better offensive player than Jared Vanderbilt. But also the Lakers did a really great job of getting Vanderbilt to actually be a very serviceable offensive player, right? Constantly having him move with an off ball, having him be a cutter, right? You could do a lot of the same stuff that they did with Vanderbilt with Cam Reddish. And Cam Reddish is just a little more versatile on the offensive side of things in that regard. The other thing is, too, is if you wanted to keep Rui in the starting unit, again, I don't really like him at the 3, but I do think that Reddish could kind of help offset some of that stuff, which it's surprising we haven't actually done that. At least some sample size of that, because I was looking and I just didn't see. Maybe I just didn't see it, but I could not find any 5-man unit of D'Lo, Reddish, Rui, LeBron, and AD. They had similar ones, but with like Jared Vanderbilt. But I digress. My point is, Rui's shooting 40% from 3 this year. So you can maybe get away with him playing and being kind of that 3-and-D guy. Cam Reddish constantly moving off ball, but you just get some athleticism in that backcourt, get a point of attack. Again, personally, if Vanderbilt ever comes back, I would put Vanderbilt in that spot. The other alternative is, of course, you keep Reaves in the starting unit and you just move Cam Reddish to the 3, which, okay, fine, but I kind of like the size idea. I would at least want to try it, right? At least test it, see what it looks like. If it doesn't look good, or it's like a little clunky or awkward or whatever, then you can move Reaves back in the starting unit and go with Reddish at the 3, right? I just think we need some level of athleticism, some level of foot speed, some level of real defense out there. And Cam Reddish has been our best defensive player, not named Anthony Davis, this season for the largest sample size. Vanderbilt was starting to get there, or in many ways he was there, but obviously he's hurt again. So I think Cam Reddish makes the most sense whenever he does return. Of course, you could go with like a Spencer Dinwiddie or a Max Christie, but honestly, I like the idea of Dinwiddie and Reaves off the bench. I think you're talking about arguably the best backup backcourt in the league at that point. If you let Spencer Dinwiddie play his role, that's the thing that's frustrating me the most. I don't hate the idea of moving Spencer Dinwiddie into the starting unit. The problem is his entire role is basically just standing around out on the perimeter, and it drives me insane, like genuinely insane. If you were going to do that, you might as well have brought in like a Joe Harris or a Daniel House or something. Why bring in a skilled combo guard to just play a spot-up three-point shooting role when he fixes and solves one of our biggest needs and holes, which is playmaking off the bench? Like, right? If you were to move Reaves to the bench, and everyone's healthy, you could literally have a starting 5, if you wanted to, of like, say, D'Lo, Reddish, Rui, LeBron, and AD with Dinwiddie, Reaves, Vando, Wood, and Hayes. Or you could have Prince, because actually Prince has been, like, the numbers back it up. Prince has actually been very good at the 4 for the Lakers, and in a backup bench role, fine. Right? So you could go with like Hayes or whatever and go that route. My point is that I think that makes a lot of sense. Yes, Max Christie, you could maybe start in place of Reaves, which there are some actually really good lineups with Max Christie playing with some 5-man units. My problem with Max Christie, and it's not really a problem, it's his age and lack of understanding, right? Again, he's 20 years old. It's not his fault, right? He's got to grow. He's got to learn. And you see the potential. I mean, I am super high on Max Christie. I think bare minimum, he becomes a premier like 3-and-D guy in the league. I think best case scenario, he becomes like a legit two-way, like star or all-star level player, right? But right now, he plays like a 20-year-old, right? He doesn't really have great awareness at times. He's not great at fighting over screens. He doesn't understand positioning quite the right way to an NBA level. He's just kind of out there playing on just like raw talent, youth, and athleticism. So I'm not like, again, the regular season, I think you can get away with it, but I'd rather get our starting 5 unit ready for the postseason, assuming that they make the postseason. And so I just don't think Max Christie is the answer in that regard. But I do think you just keep it simple, move Reddish in the starting unit, change that up, or if it doesn't work, you move Rui to the bench, put Reddish in the starting unit, and then when Vando comes back, Reddish goes back to the bench, and you put Vando in the starting unit. That's kind of where I'm at. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Agree with me, disagree with me, somewhere in between. However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I would love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Lets me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.